All right, what's going on, YouTube? G Funk is back, and not here to talk boxing today, but here to talk some pro wrestling with my main man, DStyleBoxing. What's going on, bro?
I'm gonna lock up or what? I'm gonna lock up
There, let's go. Oh.
instead of the boxing. We're gonna lock up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, man. So, if you guys haven't discovered by now, I'm a big pro wrestling fan. I've done some videos on it already here on my channel. D Style as well has done several videos on pro wrestling on his channel, so make sure you go check those out too. But today, we want to talk about the Dark Side of the Ring episode that featured Owen Hart and his tragic, untimely death back in May of '99, which was just crazy. I still can't believe that was over 20 years ago that happened, man. Can you
Right.
believe that?
That it's hard to believe, actually, but it just makes me feel old too. On top of the tragedy, but yeah, man, it's hard to believe it's been that long.
Definitely.
It's hard to believe the '90s were 2 decades ago. Like, you know what I mean? That's crazy.
Yeah, and there was some real good wrestling at that time too. The WWF at the time was WWF, now it's WWE, but at the time they were, in a war with WCW to win the ratings war, and they were going to, these great lengths. Both of them were really to win that battle. Unfortunately, some things happened within those battles that messed some people up, whether it be they got addicted on drugs or certain things like that, or guys getting hurt in the ring due to weird tournaments that they want to do, or these kind of things that happen here with Owen Hart.
Mhm.
So, real quickly, man, let's talk about Owen before we actually talk about the show that came on. And by the way, if you're a wrestling fan and you're not watching the Dark Side of the Ring, dude, they are killing it,
Do it.
man. What do you think about those things, man? I love them, man. I think they're really really good.
I haven't watched all of them. I mean, time is a little condensed nowadays. You know what I mean? But
Hmm.
I have been able to watch some. I seen the Owen Hart one. I did see the Road Warriors, Legion of Doom one, um, and the Chris Benoit was the first one I saw. So and I've also seen the one where man, I forgot the name of the guy that punched the reporter or slapped the reporter. It's like
Dave Schultz.
Dave Schultz. That's the other one. So
I
yeah,
actually have that episode of 20. Well, my dad, credit to my dad, he's a huge wrestling fan too, but he actually recorded that episode of 2020 where that happened, and I still have the VHS. So
right.
once I get my, I'm still in the process of unpacking things here at my new place, but once I get settled in and I get my VCR out and everything, I will be showing that, man. So make sure you stay tuned for that one. But that was crazy to see when that happened.
Yeah.
But those episodes of Dark Side of the Ring have been just great, man. I enjoy them. Even my wife's kind of getting into them a little bit because of the way that they present everything. It's almost like in some cases, like if there's a death involved, like it's almost like a murder mystery in a way, So she kind of looking, and I'm like, I thought you didn't like wrestling, babe. She's like, she don't like when I tease her, but
Right. Right.
it's
Right.
all good, man. But as far as Owen, man, give your thoughts on Owen Hart, the wrestler, man.
Well, look. My favorite wrestler of all time is Bret the Hitman Hart. You know what I mean? So by extension, of course, I mean, I of course I'm going to like Owen as well. You know what I mean? The only thing about Owen was, I mean, he was a more athletic version of Bret Hart, pretty much. He could do
Definitely.
everything Bret did, only more. You know what I mean? He could do stuff off the top rope. He can, and this is a guy that was like 220 pounds or something, and he could move like those cruiserweights used to do in WCW. You know what I mean? Great mat worker. He could do a lot of the high flying stuff. I think he cut better promos than Bret. I mean, come to think of it, I mean, he was just a better version of Bret. Um, and I don't even think Bret Hart would deny that. It's just that he was just the blonde version, the King of Hearts, for those that remember. Um, the one thing about Owen, though, was for some reason WWF or WWE now never put him like in a big storyline other than that one time when he wrestled his brother WrestleMania 10, one of the best matches ever. A great storytelling. At the end of the day, that's what wrestling is. You know, him and Brett had an amazing match. Brett says that was the first time they really worked together, and they had better matches later on, but they were not televised. Isn't that something?
Wow.
But you know, they have the storyline set. He beats the number one contender or whatever in Bret Hart to open WrestleMania. Bret Hart then beats the champion Yokozuna, and if you remember, Bret Hart walks out, and Macho Man's pointing at Bret, and Bret's being held up by the guys.
Yeah, they're like, "Come on in and celebrate with us," you know.
Yeah, and he's just pointing at him, and the Macho. I just remember Macho Man in the corner, like pointing at Bret, like he's a champ, like not you, like whatever, you know what I mean? And because he was more confrontational with Owen than because Bret was celebrating, you know, and they never went anywhere with that. Like it's unbelievable. They should have had like a 3-4 month feud. SummerSlam, Owen Hart versus Hart. Who's the king of hearts? Like that should have been something, and they never went anywhere with that. I liked him as a heel. I think he did a great job. Pretty decent at promos and stuff. Again, his matches were great. He had this great match with the British Bulldog for the first ever European Championship. I remember that match. Great match. And then they could never find a great storyline with Owen Hart, man. But as far as in ring, great stuff. Unfortunately, he died at the worst time, man. I mean, it's never a good time to die. You know what I mean? But with guys like Eddie Guerrero and Chris Jericho talked about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In that documentary. Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, himself, Dean Malenko, and Kurt Angle, all the workers were starting to take over the company, and he would have had a resurgence. I agree with Chris Jericho. He would have had a resurgence. He would have had a run. He would have probably been a world champion, but it just never happened, man. Never materialized. And
that sucks, man. Because can you just imagine a match between? I mean, as good as Kurt Angle was, I think that Owen Hart was better. But man, just imagine a feud between those two, you know, those would have been some insane matches, you know, and especially with the other guys that came from WCW, like Guerrero, Benoit, Malenko, Perry Saturn, Jericho. Even if they want to put them in a tag team with somebody, there were some great tag teams at that time. The Dudleys, Edge and Christian, the Hardy Boys. Jeez, man, he would have had some great work, man. Unfortunately, it was taken away too soon, man.
Hey, but well, I just want to say real quick. I mean, when he was a face, I mean, they had him doing high flying stuff and all that. It was actually his brother Brett that told him, you know, if you want to be a bad guy, if you want to be a heel, you can't be doing moves that people are going to cheer. You know what I mean? Because they're going to like you, and then you're not going to get heat, which is a big thing. Like if you want to be getting heat's a good thing if you want to be a bad guy. You know what I mean? So Brett's actually the one that told him, hey, don't be doing all that high flying stuff. And he didn't do it much in his match in WrestleMania 10 with his brother. And it was a phenomenal match because of the story they told. And he knew how to get heat. He would talk shit to the crowd. You know, when Brett did a good job selling it too, but he's kicking like Brett's head and he's just talking shit to the crowd and just great stuff, man. But I just wanted to kind of let people know that you didn't see a lot of what he could do, you know, work wise because he was a heel. You can't be a heel and do like these amazing moves that make kids cheer for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he got most of those pops when he was when he first came to the WWF when he was the Blue Blazer. Right. I remember, man. Back then, like WWF was really based around like the big guys, the big muscular guys, and they had these big brawl matches. Didn't really do a whole lot of different moves, you know. A lot of the matches were the same between these dudes, but like when the Blue Blazer came, I remember me and my cousins that were into wrestling, man, we were just like, geez, like this guy is just, man, he is super good. Like you see all these moves, like he's on the jump rope, he's on the rope, he drops down, does that backflip off the rope, and he's doing all these he does a backwards flip right off the top rope and lands right on his feet. Like we were like, man, this dude is crazy, but the character unfortunately didn't go anywhere. They got rid of the character, and then they turned him into himself. The younger jealous brother of Brett. And yeah, I agree, man. He did a good job, man. Like I remember after the Survivor Series.
Well, look, man, I was a Brett fan through and through, but I could relate to Owen when he would be like, I don't want to live in your shadow. Now he was over the top about it. You know what I mean? I don't want to beat up my brother. Like, you know what I mean? But I could relate to that though. And I think they could have done so much with that. And I still think I honestly think they should have saved that match that they did in WrestleMania. As good as it was, they should have saved it till SummerSlam and have him beat Bret Hart at SummerSlam. That would have been huge. You know what I mean? That's what they should have done. Beat him clean too. Clean.
Yeah, got him with the I forgot what move it was. He's trying to execute a move, and then Owen just grabbed the legs and just pinned him right there, and it was a clean clean victory.
The best part about, and this is why I liked Brett, bro, you never knew when the match was gonna end. You never knew. Mm-hmm. Like it could end. There was it wasn't like they do now, where they kick out of the finisher 4 or 5 times and 1, 2. But like you expected, you know what I mean? With Bret Hart matches, like you could be watching it, whoa, it's over. Like, you know what I mean? It's the way it was.
Yeah.
It's a great match.
And Owen, after listening to some of the wrestlers speak about Owen's life and how he was outside of the ring, how he was, he didn't want to stay in the business forever. He's trying to save his money so that he could stay home with his family, at a younger age. They talked about how he was such a nice guy. And, I could share a little story myself, man. I actually got to meet Owen Hart and The Rock back in '97 when Raw is War came to Sacramento. They were going to the Arco Arena, and the day before, we had heard on the radio that Owen Hart and The Rock were going to be at Arco signing autographs the day before the event was taped. So we went. My mom took me, and we got there. Let me tell you, man, it was the longest line I've ever seen in my life. That line was so damn long, yeah. And she waited there with me, and we got up there, and just to show you, I'm gonna show off a little bit here, guys. But here's the actual autograph right here. You can see, right here is The Rock, and then over here is Owen Hart. This is a real authentic autograph, man, on the attitude mat, the autograph mat.
Doing the Scott Hall, like.
But we get up there, and The Rock is the first one signing autographs. So they got a big giant stack of these just sitting there. So he's just grabbing them. He's just real quick writing his name. And he's got his glasses on, and he looks at us, he signs autographs, like, hey, thanks for coming out, kid, with that Rock voice. And then I'm like, hey, thanks. And then I step aside, and he hands a paper to Owen. Owen, signs his name.
You're still character and shit. Like, what's up, man?
Yeah, that's how The Rock was. He's still kind of in character a little bit. Owen, though, was like, he was really genuine, like himself. Like, he signed his name, and he looked up at me, and he really made eye contact with me. He made sure to make eye contact with me and put his hand down. He was, he shook my hand. He was like, thanks for coming and enjoy the show tomorrow. And I was like, thank you, and like, I didn't really know what to say because like, I didn't expect that from Owen because he was a heel at the time. He was with The Rock. They were in the Nation and the Nation of Domination, that is. And, I remember thinking like, damn, he was like really a nice guy, like even my mom was like impressed, like, yeah, he was like really nice. He shook my hand, said thank you. And, he was like they said, man, he was a real cool dude, man, outside of, his character.
Hey, that's what it's all about, man. And that's a very consistent story with Owen. Just about everyone that I know that have known Owen Hart in some way, shape, or fashion, or met him, they always have positive things to say about him. You know what I mean? Like always. Even the wrestlers, like you never hear, like you hear his rib stories where he rib dudes and stuff like that, but no one disliked Owen, dude. Even the dudes that hate Brett would always say like, "But I liked Owen though." You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like everyone liked Owen. I don't think many people had anything bad to say about the guy.
Yeah, and I just remember, man, that
I
the
heard
day
he
that
was frugal with money though. Like,
yeah, that's what they're saying.
frugal. I mean that dude, him and Mick Foley. Which I'm not even saying. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. You know what I mean? They weren't pissing their money away. You know what I mean? Like they saved up, bro. Like Owen Hart will have like friends of his pick him up at airports and shit like that. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So he knew certain people in certain towns that would go pick him up to give him a ride to the hotel or something. He was not paying for cabs. He was not paying for taxis. He was, you know what I mean? Like he limited his money. Smart.
Definitely, and hey, ain't nothing wrong with that, man. I mean, I know that he was making a lot more money than the average Joe was, but he wanted to save his money so he could retire early, man. And hey, I'm trying to do the same thing myself, man. I ain't trying to work till I'm like 70, forget that
Yeah,
plan.
absolutely.
But on to the story, man, of the Dark Side of the Ring. I thought it was a great story. I mean, the way that they present everything. The only thing that kind of bothered me was that um, from prior episodes, you get more wrestlers on there to talk about Owen's life. Wasn't too many, man. We had with D'Lo Brown and I think just the Godfather, if I'm not mistaken. On other episodes, I've seen
Brett
where there's
wasn't
like,
there.
yeah, Brett wasn't there. So I mean, it's that's kind of funny, but I know that Brett's kind of got a thing with Owen's widow, Martha. I remember he really said some bad things about the documentary that was released about him of his best matches, but they weren't very good matches.
I see both sides, but we'll get to that. But I kind of see both sides.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, man, I remember thinking when it happened, like I honestly didn't think it was real, man. I didn't think it was real
Yeah.
because the reason why I didn't think it was real is because they had more matches. Like I was thinking, like that's why I kept telling everybody, I was like, dude, if he's really dead, like they would stop the show. And I remember watching the whole pay-per-view because we had a black box. That was a black box era, you know what I'm saying? So the show ended, and then I remember watching the news at night, and wrestling at the time was, it was already, the business was already kind of exposed at the time. Everybody knew that it wasn't like a real sport. It was it was a predetermined thing, so it never got covered anymore like it used to in the '80s. Sometimes you would see wrestling in the sports section of the news, but you see at the beginning of the news they're talking about tragedy, Owen Hart. And when I seen that, that's when I knew it was real. Like when they reported on the news, it's real. I honestly thought it was part of the show, man. What did you think?
I said it was fake news. I was playing. You know what though, dude? It's a kayfabe effect. Like it's still a real thing. When it comes to wrestling, people aren't sure if it's part of the show or not. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and like there was an episode of Nitro where Scott Hall was drunk, bro. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
and Goldberg's trying to lock up with him, and he starts slapping Goldberg, and Goldberg's like, "What the hell?" Yeah, dude. But now I thought that was Scott Hall being like, Razor Ramon, just messing with Gold. I thought it was part of the show. You find out and I remember Kevin Nash was yelling at Scott Hall. It was like a tag team match, and he was like, "Hey!" He was yelling at Scott Hall, like, But I don't know what to make of it. I just thought, oh, maybe it's just, it's Scott Hall, being Scott Hall. I don't know. But you find out later that he was drunk. And he was fucking, like, he was just drunk. He shouldn't have even been in the ring. Or none of that. And then you find out stories of, like, I don't know, a lot of stories about Scott. Whoa, can you hear me now?
Yeah, okay,
cool.
Much better, though.
All right, cool. I was like, what the hell? My mic's up. But so the kayfabe effect, bro. People don't know when something is planned or real. I remember when the story came out that Chris Jericho and Goldberg went at it, and Jericho got him in a headlock, and then they broke him up. Remember that story?
Yeah, yeah.
I remember as a kid, I tried to tell people that story, and they would be like, "But was that part of the show?" Or like, I'm like, "No, no, it's something that happened backstage." Like, that's a storyline. Like you know what I mean? Like, so people don't know. Bro. So when that happened, I didn't. I wasn't. I was watching on scrambles. Remember the scramble screens?
Oh yeah.
The screen was scrambled, and I heard about it. I'm just thinking, like, well, what's going on? Where are they going with this? I was waiting for Owen Hart to pop up in the main event or something, or you know what I mean? Like, I thought they were killing the character of the Blue Blazer, bro. You know, I thought they were getting rid of the Blue Blazer, and they were gonna just, and then Bret Hart was gonna reemerge or something like that. I thought they were doing it for attention. You know, maybe he's gonna come out on Raw or, you know, but just like you, once I saw it in the news. And I remember the news stations were like, we need to repeat this. This was not part of the show. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even the news organizations had to go out of the way to explain this to people, you know? And then there's the whole, I didn't want it to be true. Like, who wants that to be true? You know? But yeah, man, he passed away. And I think that's the first time I remember where wrestlers were out of character on TV. And they were talking about Bret. I mean, about Owen.
Yeah.
And then I also remember, man, the Bret Hart Chris Benoit match, because they were wearing like black bandanas here for Owen on Nitro, if you remember.
Mm-hmm.
So they dedicated to Owen, actually. Nitro did the show as well. And I remember Bret Hart and Chris Benoit had one of the most underrated matches I've ever seen. Right, a hell of a match. You know, in dedication to Owen as well.
Yeah, you know, I've subscribed to the WWE Network, and I went back to try to watch the pay-per-view again. It's still there, but that section of when that happened wasn't there anymore. They did show that in the Dark Side of the Ring episode, which I mean, there's a part of me that wanted to see it again because it's been so long since I've seen it. But then, like, watching it is like, damn, dude, like, that's really jacked up that they had to report that right there live on pay-per-view. And then, like, they literally went on with the show. Like, they knew he was dead, and they just went on with the show. Like, what do you think about that, man? If you were in Vince McMahon's shoes, like, would you have let that happen? Like, would you just cancel the show?
Man, well, first of all, if you go back and watch that pay-per-view, you can see the section of the part of the ring where there's like a it's caved in, and you could see red. That's Owen's blood. Okay. Yeah. You can still see that unless they grade it out or something. You know what I mean? Which I guess they could do, but morally, of course, he shouldn't have continued the show. You know what I mean? But I'm trying to understand, and one thing I never thought about this until Owen's wife, and we'll kind of touch on it more when we actually get to the actual documentary, but Owen's wife said something that triggered something in my head that I never thought about. But first, to answer your question, no, they shouldn't have continued the show. They should have stopped the show. I could see how it happened, and it's live TV, everything's moving fast. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But as soon as they knew he was dead, they should have canceled the show.
Yeah.
Just refund everybody their money. Tom, we're sorry, folks. We got to cancel the show. We'll give your money back. You know, work with the TV providers and refund people their money, or so. You know what I mean? You would have taken a loss financially, but it wouldn't be as big of a loss as they ended up taking in the lawsuit. So. Mm-hmm. But yeah, in my opinion, no, they shouldn't have continued.
Same for me, man. But you know, the thing with guys like Vince McMahon, who's, you know, I mean, I know at one point he was worth billions. I don't know if he is now. But like, you know, you don't get there without having that kind of mindset, you know, of just, you know, hey, We got to run business the same way. And I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying that that's how a lot of these guys think, that have that kind of money and that have that kind of power in whatever it is that they're doing. Like at the time, he was the main dude, the most powerful man in wrestling.
Well, if they're gonna do that, then do it. But don't turn around and say we did it because Owen would have wanted the show to continue, or like, you know what I mean, like if you're gonna do that, then be about that. If it's business as usual, then say that. But that's not what they were saying. You know what I mean? And dude, you could tell in the moods of the wrestlers that they do not want to be in that ring. Okay, some of these people, some of them saw Owen Hart being carted in the back, looking blue and shit. You know what I mean? So some of them were close with Brett. Some of them already knew he was dead. They didn't want to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could just tell. And I know it's easier said than done. That we weren't in that position where the show's going and running, and an hour or two could go by really fast in a live show. You know what I mean? But I still think they should have continued.
Yeah, same for me. So, as far as the documentary, man, go ahead and give me your thoughts, man. What did you think about it?
I thought the documentary series itself is really good. I enjoy it. These backstories, bro, just in general, are way more entertaining than the actual storylines. And I'm enjoying the hell out of them and learning a lot. As far as this specific documentary, I wish there would have been more wrestlers that could have talked, because a lot of them, like Jeff Jarrett, and they could have talked. They're not with WWE as far as I know. You know what I mean? But maybe they don't want to be on the bad side of Vince. You know what I mean? Maybe they don't want to like ruffle some feathers. They might get a payday in the future or something like that. But it was good to hear from Martha, at least her. We've been hearing everybody else, including Owen's brother Brett, give their side like for years. You know what I mean? But his widow, it's good to hear from her and her side. It's good to hear from about how successful his kids are. His son, his daughter, they're doing really good for themselves. I think the son's, a lawyer, and
yeah, he is.
Yeah, she's in journalism, and so that's good. It's good to hear more details about the Owen Hart Foundation, what they're doing with that. They're helping homeless people, and a lot of good stuff. And in Owen's name, so that's great as well. The stuff it was well done. It made it a great documentary, but it was very, very disappointing to hear is what the WWE did to countersue the widow, and for Owen's breach of contract was low as you can get. I get it was a countersuit, and I get it was like a technicality type of thing. I get that, but that's terrible PR. You know what I mean? Fighting her through and through, and finding out I didn't know that the harness or the clip they were using was that was stupid, dude. Okay, I didn't know they didn't have professionals, like real professionals, handling that, all that either, because they didn't want to pay. You know what I mean? And to save 2 seconds on the harness, it was just stupid, man. Those are the main things, I think the documentary was well done. Hearing from the wife was good. And now I have more of an understanding where she's coming from, because all you heard from her for years was, oh, she's just angry at the company because she feels it killed her parent or her brother or husband. And, but I don't know. She went to the scene. Yeah. I don't know, she climbed up there with her son so they could look down, because she wanted to see what her husband saw before he died to his death. All right. By the way, Jim Cornette was on there. This dude's falling to his death, and he still finds it in him to yell, "Watch out."
I know.
That's amazing, bro. That's amazing. Like, watch out, because I'm going to die. I don't want somebody else to die. You know what I mean? That's amazing. A dying man falling to his death and yelled out, "Watch out." Okay. But anyway, as far as the wife, for them to see And you look at it from that camera angle, bro. Oh my god, dude. I mean, that is terrible. And then Owen was scared of heights. That's another thing that Brett said a couple years back. I don't think they mentioned it in the documentary. They might have, but I
I
might.
think Jim Ross. Yeah, I think Jim Ross had said that. Yeah, because I
Okay.
guess he said he walked by and he was like, he said to Owen like, "Hey, better you than me." And he's like, I don't like heights either. You know, I'm. But
I got
you
you.
know, yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't emphasize on it like they could have emphasized on it. But I understand her position more now because it wasn't just the fact that that happened; it was the level of neglect of which it happened, the level of pettiness as to why they made him the Blue Blazer to begin with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he didn't want to cheat on his wife, live, even though it was just wrestling, but he didn't want to be kissing Deborah on camera while his wife's watching at home and his kids. You know what I mean? Um, but since they couldn't come up with other storylines for him, they made him to the Blue Blazer. Brett talked more about that, but as far as this goes, I understand her now, and everything they put her through, and some of the Hart member families stealing her documents and sharing them with the WWE lawyers, and just everything she went through. I understand more than ever now why she doesn't want her husband in the WWE Hall of Fame. And I'm going to be one of those people that's no longer going to ask
Yeah,
her or anybody to put Owen in the Hall of Fame.
yeah. I remember hearing for years, Bret Hart, seemed to be a little upset about it. That he's not in the Hall of Fame, and that his fans. I remember him specifically saying Owen's fans can't go back and watch some of his greatest matches now because she won't allow the WWF to make any money off of him by doing that, and they won't let him enshrine him in the hall. And I totally get it now too, man. Like, there's no way I want my dad's name associated with anything that they do after finding out what happened after watching this documentary, and the family members too, because I mean, who else got anything? I mean, maybe behind the scenes they might have worked a deal with Vince about something, but like I don't remember any other Hearts doing anything after that in WWF. So for them to not back her up in this was a little shocking to me. What's even more shocking is, like you said, the fact that they had a piss poor rigging crew rig this guy for a stunt like that. I mean, the most dangerous stunt of the night is Owen Hart coming down from the rafters to the ring. That's literally the most dangerous out of all the things that these guys were doing at the time. And this is the Attitude Era. There was tables, there was chairs, there was ladders, there was whatever it may be that they were doing. This was the most dangerous thing out of all of them.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, and this is crazy how they did not use a locking carabiner. How do you not use one of those? And to use that little tiny clip that just releases so quickly, I mean, that is just crazy, man.
For a 230-pound man, bro.
I cannot believe that. Like, when she pulled out that clip out of that envelope where she had all the evidence from the case, I was like my heart literally sunk when I seen that. I was like, wow. Like, if I was in her position and my spouse had died because of something like that, oh my gosh, I probably would have dropped dead right there from just shock that you put him in this. Like, this is what you had him hanging by? My God. And like you said, they had a dent in the ring, and they still. I mean, the fact that the man died in that ring that night. How do you not stop the show? I mean, there's literally a murder scene there. Everybody should have been out of there, and there should have been an investigation immediately.
That's the thing that I said I never thought about.
Yeah.
I never thought about that till she mentioned it. You know what I mean? Like, and it never registered because to me, I just assumed, it's an accident because it's a show. But bro, like, if that was my brother that felt like that, I don't want the show to continue. I want to know what the fuck happened. I want to know if somebody pushed them. I need to know what happened. You know what I mean? Like, that's just,
absolutely.
I couldn't believe when I heard that. And that was the most shocking. The second most shocking was that they sued her for breach of contract.
Right. And then he moved it over to the state of Connecticut. I mean, Vince is something else, boy. He's something else. But like I said, these type of guys, they don't get that kind of wealth without doing something like this, unfortunately. There are things like this. Um, it's very sad that somebody had to die, and the way that she described it is the way that exact same way that I would be feeling. She says Vince just scraped his dead body off the mat and continued on with the show, and that's literally what happened. I mean, the guy was pretty much dead. I mean, Lawler said when he went in there that he was I think he's dead. I mean, it was almost like an immediate thing. It's surprising that he didn't die on impact, as high as he was. That's crazy, man.
So a couple of things about that. So now that I said that I completely understand her position and I get where she's coming from. Like, you know what I mean? But and I agree that they should have stopped the event. The police should have stopped the event. It shouldn't even been an option for Vince. Right. I do think that statement's a little harsh, though. I think it's a little harsh to say, "Oh, they just scraped him off the mat and continue with the show," and like he was cold and heartless. I honestly think, that everything just happened so fast. He went to the hospital, and and one thing Jr. said was, they weren't prepared for something like that. There was no drill for something like that. They never expected something like that. So even though he understands it was a wrong choice to continue the show, it was more so just bad judgment more than anything, in the heat of a very intense moment, personally, I think that's what it is. I just think he made a very bad judgment call that night to continue that show. I don't think he was being cold-hearted. I don't think he was like, I don't give a fuck that guy died. Let's continue the show. You know what I mean? I do think it affected Vince. I'm sure, it affected him, because, he lost someone that he worked with, it was an employee of his, and I'm sure he did. What was cold more so was the lawsuits and the going back and forth and not taking ownership. And that's where he fucked up. I can live with the fact that they continued the show. What I cannot live with, or I have a hard time understanding, is how do you go tooth and nail in a lawsuit with his widow? Like, can you at least acknowledge you fucked up by continuing the show and just sit down and figure something out? You know what I mean? I think he shouldn't have gotten lawyers to fight her. He should have told his team, like, hey, just try and work something out with her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like the process afterwards where they fucked up. What was cold and heartless was what happened afterwards. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, that is pretty cold, man, to, like you said, go tooth and nail with her. And then listening to Owen's son describe the case, and he's a lawyer himself now, excuse me, but describe the case as a David and Goliath story, because Vince brought out the big guns. He was not backing down on this thing.
Vince is lucky, bro, that there was no social media back then.
Yes.
Could you imagine Twitter and Facebook, YouTube? Like, when that happens, everyone will be on here talking about Owen's dead, guys, and they're continuing the show. You know what I mean? Imagine all the hashtags, RIP Owen, why are they doing the show? They would probably have stopped the show because of the social media backlash. You know what I mean? And I don't see this lawsuit happening at all, okay, if there's social media back then. Like, he's lucky, bro.
Yeah.
That there was no social media. I want to say this, though. I do understand where Brett's coming from, okay? Brett's argument is Owen Hart dedicated a lot of his life to wrestling, right? The documentary keeps saying Owen was more than just a wrestler. Well, of course he was, right? He was a husband. He was a, a father, and that, of course, that comes first than being a wrestler. Of course it does. You know what I mean? And he sacrificed a lot of time away from them because of wrestling, but he's still part of wrestling lore. And although I already said I'm not going to be doing videos saying Owen should be in the Hall of Fame and Martha, please let him in the Hall of Fame. I'm not going to be one of those people asking her anymore because after what I saw. But all I'm trying to say is I understand where Brett's coming from because he wants to see his baby brother being enshrined in the Hall of Fame. Like he wants the work of his brother to be remembered. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He doesn't want it all just to be lost like forever. You know.
Yeah, he's in a weird spot, Brett, because we know, as we're both big Bret Hart fans, we know how serious he took wrestling. Even though we all know again that it's a predetermined contest.
What?
And Brett really did take it serious. They said Owen wasn't as serious about the business like that as Brett was. So yeah, I totally understand it, and it's a really shitty situation for Brett because, yeah, I would want my brother to be recognized as one of the best workers to ever do it. I would want his name in the Hall of Fame, but at the same time, it's like, damn, like if it wasn't for this company that's going to have to do all this and have to make more money off him, he'd still be alive. It's a
Right.
tough situation, man, and like. Martha and the son, I forget his name. I forget his name. He's got a kind of a strange name, and I don't want to butcher it either. But they're pretty firm on where their position is, and they're saying, no way are we giving them any of that, And I understand both sides, but it's tough, man. It's a tough situation.
What if there's been rumors that Vince might be selling, right? And what if someone else owns WWE and all that? You think they'll do it? You think they'll?
Oh,
It won't be attached to the McMahon name anymore if that happens. And I have every reason to believe there's a 50-50 chance they might sell.
really? Wow, that's interesting. I was thinking that he was going to pass it down to Shane or Stephanie or even worse, Hunter, to run things after. Vince is getting up there now in age, but
I talked a lot of shit about Hunter, bro, but the way he handled NXT, it's way better than the shit I'm seeing in Raw and all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Raw is not doing it for me, man. I've been watching the AEW. I've been entertained by that. But yeah, man, it's man, that's a good question. If he sells and the McMahons don't get any money off of it, I don't know, man. There's a good chance. But we all, the hardcore fans like us, man, we all know Owen. We all know he deserves to be in every single Hall of Fame. If there is any other Hall of Fames out there for wrestlers, those guys that came out of Stampede, man, those dudes were some of the best guys to ever get into the WWF. We're talking again, Bret Hart, Owen Hart,
Right.
the British Bulldogs, Davey Boy Smith, and the Dynamite Kid, one of the best tag teams ever. Jericho, Lance Storm. I mean, so many guys came out of that wrestling promotion. So, maybe I don't know if they'll even, because how they've done groups now. They've done like the NWO. They've done D-Generation X. I believe they've done the Four Horsemen, if I'm not mistaken. What if
are you trying to get to like what do they do like the Hart Foundation and Owen's part of it, something like that?
Yeah, because you remember how they had that Hart Foundation towards '97, end of '97, where it was Brett, Owen, Jim Neidhart, and Davey Boy Smith.
Oh. Is British Bulldog in the Hall of Fame?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. He should be, though. Yeah, he should be. Him and the Dynamite Kid both should be in there, no doubt about it.
Dynamite's the best professional wrestler of all time. Okay. I know it's a bold statement, but that ain't no. Or he's the best worker of all time. Let me reword that.
Yeah.
But man, I want him in the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? Because he deserves it. But I'm not going to ask anymore because I understand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I get it. I don't know if they can. I know what you're saying. They find a loophole. Look, man. Here's what I'll say. There was a lot of riffs with the Macho Man. He passed away, and the brother wouldn't give him the right to. And then eventually, the brother said, "You have my permission to do it without my permission." In other words, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What it said, and this brother ended up inducting him. Actually, Bruno, bro, San Martino was on CNN, bro. Okay, on Jerry King Live, talking about how there was molestation going on in the wrestling business, and he went at it with Vince live on the air, bro. Vince was denying it. Bruno was saying, "Oh, this shit is happening. I know friends that it happened to." But those were some serious accusations, and no one ever thought. And then he also went on CNN to talk shit about wrestling because of the steroid scandals, and that was a low point in Vince's life, his career. And Bruno was there, bro, front lines, fighting against them. They got Bruno in. You know what I mean? No one, dude. You think we don't like? I don't think Owen's going to get in now. No one thought Bruno was ever going to get in. But we got to do a video on that, dude, bro. Bruno's life is amazing, by the way.
San Martino, yeah, the living legend.
Great stories. But there's some other ones I can't think of. Bret Hart. Bret Hart got in the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, although Bret Hart did say that even if I never talk to Vince again, I'll do the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? Ah, man.
And he never wanted to leave either, Bret. For he said it several times that he felt like WCW was just it was just not on the level of a WWF.
By the way, Bret I think Bret has a hard time with what happened to his brother because he left for more money and left his brother behind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you have to think. I mean, I can't get in Bret's head, and he's never said this, but you have to think that he thought to himself, like, man, if I was there, this wouldn't happen. If I was there, he wouldn't be doing the Blue Blazer bullshit. You know what I mean? To begin with.
Yeah.
If I was there, like, I would have had some stroke around there. He wouldn't be he's scared of heights. He wouldn't be up in a harness, So I could see where he feels guilty himself, kind of. And but lastly, the interview you mentioned earlier, where he's talking about the wife's erasing his name from wrestling, and he's talking about Martha's erasing the name of Owen Hart, and and not allowing WWE to use certain footage, and I understand, I see both sides, bro.
Yeah.
Like I get that it's her husband. I get it. But that's his brother. You know what I mean? Like it's tough.
It is a tough one, man. It's a tough. I can't imagine being in that situation because Owen was a trendsetter for a little bit, especially for the WWE fans, because I mean, like I said, the Calgary guys, they've been doing these kind of things for a while. But when Owen came as the Blue Blazer, like you see the moves that he was doing, like you never seen anything like that before in WWE, at least, or WWF it was at the time.
I mean, it's not all the time in Lucha Libre. That's a different story.
Yeah. Well, we know that, but what did you think about, real quickly here, what did you think about his stint when he was the Rocket Owen Hart and they made the new foundation? First it was with I'm not sure who came first. I know it was a tag team with Coco Beware, and then it was a tag team with Jim Neidhart, who was his brother's tag team partner. But what did you think about that, man? Do you remember those days?
I remember the Rocket thing. I remember that a little bit. I remember him tag teaming with Yokozuna.
Yeah.
I always liked that tag team. I don't know why. I thought it was like the perfect, like, you got the quick dude and you got the big power guy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but and he was with Mr. Fuji. It just made him like extra bad guy. I remember that. What I remember the most though is when he was like the king of hearts and he was walking around with the damn slammy.
Slammy Awards.
Yeah, he was walking around with the damn slammy, bro. Like the one damn slammy he won. And you know what I was like, do you have a slammy? You know what I mean? And I remember one time he was walking out, like he was leaving early. He's leaving the arena early, right? He's leaving, you know, like, and then the reporter's like, oh, where are you going? I thought you were going to stay around to hear, I don't know what. You know what I mean? He was feuding with somebody and he's leaving the show early and he's like, because I'm going to go home with my loving wife because I'm a responsible husband. Okay? Non-like, and I forget who he was talking about. He's not a responsible husband because he never takes time off. Like it's like total like saying something so reasonable, but like in a heelish kind of pompous way. You know that was Owen.
Yeah, he was really good at that role, man. And it sucks for him because wrestling around the time that his death happened, it was going in a direction of more drama, more storylines, less good matches in the ring, which is his specialty. So that's why they had to go back and do that stupid blue blazer thing.
By the way, you could definitely blame a lot of this on the Click. Okay. As far as what started the downfall of Owen as a main character, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and the reason I'm saying this is because Brett's gone, right? Shawn Michaels becomes a Grand Slam champion. He beats Davey Boy Smith in England. He beats Brett in Canada. He beats this guy in England, and then finally he's feuding with Brett. The last one left, by the way, right? I think Neidhart joined DX, and then they beat him up, and then that was the last time you saw him.
Yeah, I think he went to WCW after that. Yeah.
So they were just embarrassing, getting the best of them, and I'm thinking to myself, well, there's Owen though, right? No, he couldn't put Owen over either. You know what I mean? And then they just used Owen to put Triple H over, and like the whole thing, bro. Like if everything Triple H said was true, right? That he's leaving, you're staying, so he can't win, and Bret wanted to leave in a blaze of glory, and fucking Owen Hart was staying, motherfucker. Owen Hart was still there. You guys couldn't give him one fucking win. I mean, goddamn, you ran everybody out of town. They could have, dude. Owen against Shawn Michaels could have been a hell of a storyline, bro.
Definitely
huge, dude. And then finally, he did kind of fuck up the power driver against Stone Cold.
Oh, Stone Cold, yeah.
So that I don't know if there was some punishment there or something, but yeah.
So we got about 10 minutes left here, guys. I want to thank everybody joining who's watching us. I put a link in the chat if anybody wants to jump on and talk about Owen Hart. Anybody want to hop on, man, you're more than welcome to. If not, it's all good. But,
I'm calling out A-Rod and Chicano to come on.
You hear that? Calling you out right now. He's DStyle's on the Titantron.
Come lock up with me. Come on. There. I look at it from here, bro. I could do the fake punches from me, like pah, pah. You gotta sell it though. You gotta sell the punch.
You know what? While we're talking about pro wrestling here, back in I want to say it was either late 90s or early 2000s. My cousin and I, man, we tried to organize a backyard wrestling thing in the neighborhood. And we couldn't get people to join us at first. Later on, we did. We had quite a few people. But we were teenagers, and I was like 15. So we decided to do something where we want to make this video, right? Where we taped ourselves wrestling. We practiced all the moves. Like we had our match. It was probably close to a 10-minute match. Completely memorized, completely memorized. We didn't have to let each other know anything that was going on during the match. So we taped it, and we planned on sending it to WCW because we did a spoof on Sting and Goldberg. And I'm trying to get my hands on these tapes, man. But my cousin, he is really tight with these things. You know, he's got them, man. And if I could get my hands on them, man, I will show it. I'm playing Sting. He's playing Goldberg, bro. I had face paint. He had on the little tights like Goldberg. We had fireworks. We had commentators, bro. Dude, it was the shit, man. This guy right here would try to get on the show. This guy right here was there. He was doing some wrestling with us, so he knows what I'm talking about. I'm trying to get my hands on these tapes, man. If I do, hey, you gotta see it, man. I thought we put on a pretty good match, man. Did you do anything like that when you were a teenager?
You know what? Yes, me. I had a friend, Josh. But like, dude. So here's what we did, right? I got a new trampoline, bro. Like, you know, remember those round trampolines?
Yes, yes.
And I lived in a trailer, so this is like dude, like sometimes I think about the shit I did as a kid, and kids cannot do this nowadays. But we would get on the ladder up on the like on top of the trailer, and we would like do elbow drops. You know what I mean? Dude, like a kid almost broke his neck. Like the shit was crazy, but we would do it in the and we would do all these moves on the trampoline. You know what I mean? Like, and we ended up breaking all the springs and shit. Like a spring will fly out sometimes because of all the fucking slamming we were doing.
Yeah.
And then when we kind of wore that out, we got like some old mattresses. You know what I mean? I just laid them all out, dude. So we were doing a wrestling match, right? And we had like a ref and like different one of like there was like a group of 10, 20 or up to 20 people there. And we would do wrestling matches, just making them up on the fly, by the way. Okay. And the thing about wrestling, bro, like what makes it different than other like real sports is like you want to be the one selling. Like, you know what I mean? Like you want to be the one that got hit and like you fall and like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You know, like it's just fun. And anyway, he picked me up, bro. And he drops me like boom, and I fall on the mat. The wind, bro. It was the first time in my life I lost my wind. Like you know when you can't breathe and you're like
that's
you know,
the worst feeling ever, man.
Feeling like you can't wait till it's over. That feeling. Like in that moment, you're like, I don't know why I complained about anything in life. This is worse than anything, you know. And I just remember, like, and then he's trying to pick me up and do it again, and my river wrestling came out. I got him from the knees and I put him down. Bro, like, what are you doing? Like, oh, I got big. I started to cry and shit. I was like 12 years old. Okay, but they weren't like I wasn't. They're not like I was sad tears. Like they just came out. Like. It was weird, bro, but I couldn't catch my wind. I couldn't, it was a horrible feeling. And then we just continued. We had the steel chairs. Okay. The trash can lids were the best. Those didn't hurt. I mean,
yeah.
But the steel chairs though, we would like do it, but not really do it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It was like holding and but like, you know, you were like catch it.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
I mean?
Get the hands up in time.
I was not gonna take a steel chair to my forehead, bro.
No, not unless I'm getting paid. But I did do some crazy shit. Let me tell you. And let me address this comment right here. All right, because this is my cousin right here, and he was there during a lot of those matches that we had. We had a hardcore belt. Somebody had an old. You know those old styrofoam belts, championship belts that you used to get when you go to either Toys R Us or if you go to the event, you could buy them. So
we had to the flea market, bro, and get some badass like lucha libre belts, bro. What's the matter with you?
Yeah, we would get them, dude. And we busted it up and put the tape across it and wrote hardcore. So it was the hardcore belt, you know, just like the one that they had. This crazy motherfucker right here, man. Let me tell you, he's a lot bigger than me too. But we were having a hardcore match and we were going all out. We had all the kids in the neighborhood there. And this guy literally finished me off for real, dude. Like we didn't have a match planned or anything. We were just going back and forth.
We almost never had a G-Funk.
Yeah. This dude finished me off, man. Let me tell you, we were in my mom's backyard, picking things up, hitting each other with it, slamming each other on the grass. We had mattresses out there, but we were slamming each other on the grass and things like that. This guy finished me off. He put me in a suplex, literally suplexed me against my mom's fence, and we broke that motherfucker. He put me through the damn fence, bro, and hey, I was not kicking out of that one because it was one of those things. If you were gonna get pinned, it was up to your discretion to kick out. If you had enough, you had enough. You know,
dude. I know what he put about the DDTs were awesome on the trap. The DDTs, the Hurricane Ranas, a lot of fun shit, bro. Look at the whole series on Backyard Wrestling, bro. I'm thinking about it. But yeah, one time, dude, like it was like a little skinny dude would tell him, go up there, bro, and do the elbow chop. But anyway, he was going to do it on me, right? But I thought to myself, dudes would move out of the way, and Macho Man would like hit nothing but the mat. You know what I mean? So I rolled out of the trampoline, and he was like a little dude. And I guess when I rolled out, you know how the trampoline, when it kind of, if you fall in at a certain time, it'll make you bounce high.
Yeah.
Woo! And he fell outside. He fell outside. And I think he might have he didn't like dislocate anything, but I think he really hurt his arm like really, really bad. And then we just like idiots, we just continue. It's not like we went to go get an adult and like, hey, this happened. Yeah. But like parents were like around, they just didn't care. It was like the weirdest thing.
Yeah, they knew we were gonna do it anyway, even if they came out and said no. I think that's what my parents at least thought. And
Did my dad ever like play with a little kid and use like a pillow as a steel chair?
No, we were mostly putting those guys in power bombs.
Oh, dude, power bombing little like, dude. I remember my little cousin would like power bomb him like on the bed. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm reading a few of these comments here. It says Channel Private says D-Style lost his smile. I guess that's what you was talking about when you had the tear coming
drivers,
down.
Bro. The pal drivers like on the trampoline, probably dangerous as fuck. By the way, you know.
We got Big Dog Willie here. What's going on, man?
Hey, Big Dog, you ever wrestle on a trampoline, bro?
Oh, right here. On the trampoline, no, not on the trampoline. But on grass in the backyard. And off of I was going to say this story about my homie. The top rope was the top of a refrigerator. That was the top rope. And you know how we used to watch a lot of WCW, a lot of that, and they had to do that. The Great Muta, remember him?
I remember that dude. Yeah,
the Great Muta dude, that Japanese dude that did the backflips off the That was the finishing move. He did the backflips off the rope and land on you. So we had the grass in the backyard, my mom's backyard, and the top of the refrigerator was the top rope. And he tried to do it, but he missed all the grass and landed right on the concrete, the driveway concrete. And he didn't do it. He didn't do a complete flip. He did like a half flip and landed straight on his ass on the concrete. And tore his butt up, man. He was crying because we're like 11, 10 years old.
Better butt than the face, you know?
Yeah.
But he missed. It was a user crack.
I've had a few close calls.
He got up,
man.
He tried to walk it off. He fell right back down.
Dude, I remember when I was telling you about that match that my cousin and I did, and we recorded it. The Sting and Goldberg match, we were rehearsing it so many times, and then we started to do it in front of his camera because he had a little camcorder. So we would have somebody tape us, so we could go back and watch and see if we needed to clean anything up before we actually do it. So the first time we recorded the match, we went through the whole match, and then the finish comes, right? So of course Goldberg's going over, right? Because he was undefeated. Of course he's going over. So he's gonna put me up in the jackhammer, right? So he's gonna pick me up and hold me in the air and then slam me. So we get ready to do the spot, and he picks me up. He's got me up, and he just lets me go. And he's supposed to slam me on the mattress. Boom, jackhammers me right on the grass, dude.
Wow.
And then the next time, this is the only time. One of the only times I got hurt. The other time I got hurt was when me and him were a tag team, and we were wrestling two other guys, and we called for a 3D. We were gonna do the Dudley Death Drop on this kid. And we did it the wrong way. So I'm going up. He picks him up. I'm going up to put him in the cutter. As I go to get him, our heads collide. Bam! And I mean, that was probably the closest I think I've ever been to being knocked unconscious, man. Like our heads just smashed each other. I mean, it was like a crunch, like we were both down for about 20 minutes, dude.
Let me ask you guys: you guys ever do the submissions on people? Like,
yeah.
So I remember I put like one of the kids in the neighborhood. We're on the trampoline. I'm like, hey, so and yeah, I'm gonna get you on the sharpshooter because I'm Bret Hart. You know what I mean? So I did the sharpshooter, and I'm like, it's wrestling, so it's all fake, right? Not like it's gonna hurt. So I turn them, and I swear to God, dude, it was like a yelp, but like loud, like ah! and then I sat on his back. I sat on his back, bro. And he starts sounding like in Spanish, saying yeah, and then like stop, like. Anyway, he was crying, bro. He went home. His mom like came to talk to my mom that I was being a bully, and like I was like, I'm just like, we were just playing. Like I just thought it's a fake move. Like apparently,
working in the ER, working in the emergency room, I deal with some people who come in, like probably me working there for like almost 8-9 years. I seen about 10 people come in with backyard wrestling stories and how they got injured. Broken arms, fractured vertebrae, everything. But the coldest one I seen when I was when I first started working in the ER, this one dude came in, fractured leg. He tried to do a what's those things?
Figure four?
No. He was jumping off something. What was he?
Like a leg drop?
I want to. What's the thing called? Macho Man's move.
Oh,
the flying elbow.
Oh, the elbow. Yeah.
Yeah. So he, I guess they were wrestling in the backyard, and he jumped off the top of a roof.
Oh.
And he jumped. I guess he jumped wrong. He jumped kind of feet first, and he landed on the grass, and his leg went underneath him and basically shattered. And basically from his tibia basically broke up into and I was like, and I asked him, like, what were you doing? He's like, well, I was trying to win the last match, the death match, or whatever he was talking about, and I completely missed him. I didn't fall the right way. I said, you're not supposed to jump. Now I explained to him, I was like, you're not supposed to jump. You're supposed to lean sideways. You're not just supposed to jump with your legs onto the ground. And
I like how you told that you gave him tips instead of telling him not to do it. Like, what you should do is next time you do this shit, you can do it right, okay?
Yeah.
I couldn't help it.
If I see you here again, it better be because you did it right, or whatever. You better not do it wrong.
Yeah, broken ribs or broken elbow or something, concussion, not broken leg.
You better come in with a fucked up elbow next time.
Yeah,
right?
Dude, I remember so many of my older cousins that weren't into wrestling like me. When they found out we were doing this backyard wrestling thing, like they were just like, oh, don't worry, man. You're going to have some kid come over here and get hurt, and then they're going to sue your mom, and then you're going to have no place to live and all this other shit, But, like, this dude didn't know that we were actually practicing these moves. Like, we were rehearsing moves. We were, it wasn't like we were just messing around. Like some of the things that were going on at that time, kids, they were just doing stupid things, man. They were hitting each other. They were slamming each other through tables on fire and things. I mean, it was on the news. They were showing these things, man. I'm like, we weren't doing none of that. Like we were really, like, we had hardcore matches and we had moments where we would do hardcore stuff.
But you just got jackhammered on the grass. It's not like
that was an accident though that time. But we ended up, man, I'm telling you, man, once I get my hands on these tapes, man, you guys, I mean, I'm telling you, you're going to be shocked at how good it is, man. Like, the wrestling is, like, really, really good, man. And, like, the production value is there. Like I told you, man, we had commentators, we had fireworks, like, we had the whole nine, man. We was really trying to do it, man.
So I've heard the, go ahead.
I was going to say, man, I don't know if you guys ever did this. It was so normal. Like in Latino households anyway, okay? To put on, as kids, bro, we were kids, what we would put on gloves and just go at it, bro. Like I actually have footage of me. You know what? I got to get a hold of that footage. But like I was Chavez, you know what I mean? And I'm walking down the stairs, you know, with like it was like a towel, but it was like my robe. And my cousin was Camacho, you know what I mean? And the cousin was filming it, bro. This was before they fought. He was filming it like those old recorders with a VHS tape. You know what I mean? Ahí viene, he's doing it in Spanish. Ahí viene Camacho, ahí viene Chavez. And someone, I don't know what they used to like ring a bell. And we were just like totally like not skilled or anything. We're just throwing punches. But we're just like, pow, pow. Like, we're just going at it, bro. And I knock him down. Like, and dude, here's a kid that's got knocked down, right? The nose is like red, not so much bloody, but it's like red. And he's down, and the motherfucker's counting, bro. That una. Those dude, like I think back and like one of us could have gotten seriously hurt.
Absolutely.
We were boxing in the living room, Chavez Jr. style. Like they moved all the stuff out of the way, and we were just fighting like boxing, bro. We did that. It was like a normal thing every other Saturday, bro. You know what I mean?
We did the same. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because we did that too, man. We would put gloves on and we would box in the back. We actually had headgear though. My uncle made us buy headgear. He was like, if you guys are going to do this, I want headgear because I don't know why you're getting hurt out here, you know? So we got the headgear and we had the gloves.
Very responsible. Very
responsible. And we got tape on that too. My cousin, the same cousin that has the wrestling videos, he has all the boxing videos of us when we were teenagers. This has been great, man. I wish I had more time, man, but I'm short on time tonight. I'm glad that D-Style decided to join me and Big Dog Willie, man. I appreciate you guys and everybody in the chat. Renee Box Young, I see you, man. Make sure you, join us for Wednesday, man. Hispanics Causing Panic on D-Style's channel. He's throwing the invite out for you, man. So
it's 10 p.m. Eastern time. I see your email there. Just email me or G-Funk or something, or I'll email you. However, it doesn't matter to me. But 10 p.m. Eastern time every Wednesday.
That's right. Make sure you're there, man. But before we wrap this thing up, you guys want to give your final thoughts on Owen Hart, man?
Owen Hart is I've said it, bro. He's just a better version of Bret Hart, and I'm saying that as a fan of Bret. You know what I mean? He could do everything Bret could, but just more. You know what I mean? And that's what I'll say, man. It's a shame that he's gone. It's a shame to everything that happened. And I understand now, and I'm going to stop asking the wife to let him in the Hall of Fame because after watching that documentary, I completely understand.
Yeah, only thing that Bret had over Owen was probably his little acting ability. That's the only thing Bret had over Owen. But I mean, Owen, like as a physical and as a better athlete, was a better athlete than Bret, and he was a better wrestler. And I like the little tag team. I didn't too much like that character, the one he died with, but
Blue Blazer,
him as a wrestler, the Blue Blazer, whatever his name.
Yeah.
That's it, man. But yeah, I had to say, yeah, man. I kind of, that was the good old days of wrestling, man. So
yeah. Well, man, I plan on doing some more, man. Since there's no live boxing, we're probably gonna do some more wrestling talk here, man. So anytime you want to jump on, Big Dog, you're welcome, man. Anybody else in the chat too. My best memory is this, man. I mean, I hate to keep showing it, but when I got this autograph from these guys, especially Owen Hart, man, he was just a cool dude, man. Such a cool guy.
Oh, okay.
The Rock, I said The Rock was still kind of in character a little bit when he was signing autographs for everybody. But Owen, I'll never forget that, man. He locked eyes. He made sure he locked eyes with me and shook my hand, and said, thank you and enjoy the show tomorrow. I was really thrown back by that, but as far as his wrestling goes, man, he was a lot more of an athletic style than Bret. He did a lot of more aerial moves than Bret. And, man, what a great talent, man. And they just, if this gimmick would have never happened, if they would have never brought back the Blue Blazer, he could have had some phenomenal matches with guys like Kurt Angle, Guerrero, Malenko, Benoit, Perry Saturn. I mean, all these dudes that came in shortly after his death. man, just imagine what that would have been like, some of those matches, man. Or if you even became a tag team against the Hardys and the Dudleys and Edge and Christian. Wow. Those would have been some great, great matches, man. But unfortunately, Owen passed away. So, it's too bad, man. But I want to thank all you guys for being here, man. I'm going to end this thing, man. Thanks, Big Dog Willie. Thank
All right, man.
DStyleBoxing, man. But and thank you guys for the chat, man. And we're out. We'll see you next time. Peace.